When Mikel Arteta became head coach of Arsenal, the Gunners were deep in the trenches. They had not qualified for the Champions League in over 3 years, and they were basically not considered a serious club anymore. They were the banter club of the Premier League, but Arteta came and changed their lives. Step into the 18-yard box. Let me tell you how Mikel Arteta has transformed Arsenal. Mikel Arteta became Arsenal coach in December 2019, and when he was hired, he made a bold statement. He said that the club had lost its direction. He wanted people who would deliver passion and energy, and anyone who didn't buy into it was not good enough for the environment. It was such a brave statement for a man who had no experience coaching a first team, and he actually started out brilliantly. In his first season, Arsenal finished 8th on the table, but he only came in halfway, so it was easy to write that one off. However, he was able to lead Arsenal to an insane run in the FA Cup, beating Man City in the semis and Chelsea in the final to become the first Arsenal manager to win a trophy in their first season in 33 years. That also made him the first man in the history of Arsenal Football Club to win the FA Cup as both captain and coach. He then went on to beat Liverpool on penalties to win the Community Shield that summer. It was a brilliant start, and everyone thought it would be up and away from there, but it actually wasn't. Arteta's first full season turned out to be nothing to write home about. He got knocked out in the 4th round of the FA Cup by Southampton, got knocked out of the Europa League in the semi-finals by former Arsenal boss Unai Emery, and worst of all, finished 8th on the Premier League table. Now, having finished 8th and not won the FA Cup or the Europa League, Arsenal were unable to secure a ticket to Europe, which meant that their 25-year streak of always featuring in a European competition came to an end. At this point, Arteta's seat was getting hot. He wanted to start the 2021-22 season in better fashion, so he brought in a new set-piece coach, 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤, but that didn't change much at the beginning. They lost the opening game of the season to newly promoted Brentford and then went on to lose to Chelsea and Man City, leaving them rock bottom of the table with no points and no goals going into the first international break of the season. At this point, Arsenal fans were calling for Mikel Arteta to be sacked immediately, but the club decided to trust him, and it turned out to be the best decision they had ever made. Arteta went on to lead Arsenal to wins in all their games in September, which earned him the Premier League Player of the Month award, and that was the start of a lovely run. We thought Arsenal would finish in the top 4 and finally return to the Champions League, but they slipped up in the last few games of the season and ended up in 5th position. It was disappointing, but the team had shown massive improvement, so there was a lot of positivity going into the 2022-23 season. That summer, Arsenal made some statement signings. They bought Gabriel Jesus and 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤 from Man City and welcomed William Saliba back from his loan spell, and right from the start of the season, they looked ready. Arsenal won their first 10 games of a Premier League season for the first time ever, and that was when people knew that they were finally back. They went on to mount a proper title charge. In fact, they only started to stumble in the race when Saliba picked up a long-term injury. The season after that, Arsenal became even stronger. They signed Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, and David Raya, and those 3 absolutely elevated the team. They beat Man City to win the Community Shield in the summer, and that set the pace for their season. Arsenal went on to show insane defensive solidity, and they became extra effective from set pieces that season thanks to 𝐥𝐢𝐤𝐤. This time around, they pushed Man City all the way to the last day and finished just 2 points behind City and with the best defensive record in the league. Early in the 2024-25 season, it's the same theme. It is clear that Arsenal are now one of the best clubs in England and in Europe, and one of the teams to beat in the Premier League and in the Champions League. Considering the fact that Mikel Arteta had no first-team coaching experience before taking the Arsenal job, the transformation he has done with this Arsenal team is truly incredible. In less than 5 years, he has taken Arsenal from a banter club to one of the best in the world. But do you think this is the season he will finally get the team over the line by winning the Premier League or the Champions League? Or maybe even both? What do you think? Tell me in the comments.